Every year we'd go on vacation to visit family, grandparents and cousins. So we were on this trip, and that year we were driving through the night because we wanted to go backpacking before we went and saw my grandparents, my great uncle and aunt in particular. They were really probably more like grandparents to us. They were believers. Anyway, and on a highway, my twin brother, he fell asleep at the wheel in the middle of the night, and started swerving and slid, and the tires hit an embankment, and the car just flipped 3 times, ended up upside down, and if there had not been a trucker behind us that saw the lights fly, going in the air, we, probably no one would know we're down there, in this ravine. And so they called ambulance and sheriff and all that to come out, and they found us, and we were all alive. It was crazy. That's a whole nother story, but how that God did that. But we're all alive, banged up, bruises, cuts, some broken bones, things like that, but we're all alive. And I knew a couple days later, I knew that if I had died, that because of my own rebellion, wanting to live my own life, I saw great examples of people following Jesus, but I wanted to live my life. I wanted to live for myself. I loved my sports. I wanted to be some big football hero, and it was all about me. I started being interested in girls, and things like that. I was just a really selfish young man, prideful, and I knew, though, if I died, I would have been cast off forever, and rightly so. So after we were in the hospital for a few days, and after we went on to see my great uncle, and the day before we got there, he had a stroke and was in the hospital and couldn't speak, and which was rough because I loved him, and like I said, he was really more of a grandfather to me, and it was hard that he'd had a stroke. He couldn't speak, but he had some other issues because of the stroke too, and I was like, and he's way up in years, and I was standing in the back. My family was all around him, and he just called me up, with his hand, took my hand and was holding on to my hand and started tearing up. He motioned with his hands, just said, put his finger on my heart, just said, give your heart to Jesus. And, he just said, just stop, stop running. And tore me up. We left that day, and the next day he died. And at his funeral, everyone was standing up singing in the front, and I was standing in the back. And I just knew I didn't want to run anymore. So I gave my heart to Christ, and everything changed. It was crazy. Everything changed. My desires changed. I mean, I still had some sin issues I had to work through. I was angry and had a temper and all kinds of stuff, but it was just, God was just changing me.